All right, the much anticipated second part where you unveil a couple of things. And we put down here on the caption, two top things being an entrepreneur. I guess the question we posed you at the end of our first segment was a couple of things that maybe you would have changed.
I would have probably had a much more full corporate structure earlier than I did. We were very small. We did a lot of really good things, but the processes weren't there. It took a long time to get processes. One of the things I think that I regret is not having the financial acumen to understand how you read a financial sheet. What's a profit and loss? Can you tell me a little bit about cash flow? I had to learn all those. Now I had a great CFO, a good personal friend of mine that we had a lot of cat fights over, why isn't there money here? I thought we build. But then you begin to understand the nature of financial literacy for a business. So that's one of the things I would definitely do. The second thing is...
Well, let's hold on to the second thing.
Yeah.
Let's build on that. Not everybody has a great CFO that you can trust. So going back, which means moving forward for the young people in there, what would you recommend?
If you wanted to start a business, the first thing I'd say is get yourself a very good accountant and legal support. Those are really important. You start early, you have good discipline, and that's very important for CRA, but it's also important for just really good due diligence and building the blocks of the business. The second thing is get yourself a relationship with a financial institution that you trust and they trust you. We've been very fortunate to have RBC for 20 years. And I have to tell you, it's a bit of a partnership.
Are you getting some points on this?
My God, I think I'm probably traveling to Hawaii.
Oh my God.
But the reality is...
How many Avion points are you getting for that one?
Well, that's a closely guarded secret.
Okay, so RBC, good financial partner.
And it is a partnership because it's not about just having a bank. You're having individuals that trust your business and stay with you through good things and bad. And I would say without question that we had not had that type of relationship. Every business will be like this. You're going to have your peaks and your valleys. And you hope that your valleys are not so steep that you can't climb out and get going again. But through it all, you have a bank. And if the bank stands behind you, it can do magic for you. And we've been very fortunate in that respect.
So we want to keep this real. We try to make this as real as possible. Okay? And realistically, you mentioned, you know what? People out there learning and maybe watching this, they're thinking of starting a business and this, that, and the other thing. They heard, get a good CFO. And you said, well, okay, get a good bank. There must have been times where you did not agree with your CFO.
We had some epic matches.
Let's go.
A good friend of mine, Dan Harrington.
Does he work for the RBC?
He does not work
for
the
RBC.
RBC.
Joking.
But I think he has probably the Avion card.
Does he?
He does.
Okay.
But Dan and I had a lot of battles. And the reason is that...
Okay, describe battle. Now I'm being serious.
Okay.
What does that mean? Does it mean...
we're not going to make payroll.
Right, okay.
How can we not make payroll? Because we're not getting the accounts receivable in that we need. What do you mean? We built these. Well, I can't do anything about those type of base things. Or we're going to spend a bit more on marketing. We have no money to spend on marketing. Well, what do you mean we don't have any money to spend on marketing? Why not? We're doing some great things here. Those type of base discussions. But through it all is a education and learning process. I learned a lot about financial literacy from my CFO, but he learned a lot about the reality of running a business from me.
Really good.
And it's, 20 years, never missed a payroll. I take a lot of pride in that. 20 years, never missed a supplier payment. I take a lot of pride in that. Those are things that you look back on and you say, boy, tough environment sometimes, but we were resilient and we have survived and we're now ready to go for the next decade.
Well, speaking of which, I'm going to make this comment. So you don't have to take, you guys want to dislike me, that's good. I'm not controversial, but I'm just saying that accountants, and I grew up in this area, accountants have to deal with two columns. And if one, and I know I'm just being a jerk sometimes around accountants, but that's okay. But they have two columns they have to balance. as a business person and an entrepreneur, you got like exponential columns that you got to figure out. And you named a couple: marketing, payroll, business opportunities, and this and that and the other thing. And I think a good CFO, you're saying, is that he or she is very aware that it's a little bit more complicated than saying this equals that.
It is much more complicated. And at the end of the day, all those pillars have to come together for the house to stand on the frame. And if you're missing that one pillar, you're at risk of collapsing. And so, accountants, lawyers, some of them have personality, not many. But they are indispensable.
I didn't say that.
They're indispensable for your business. And so it's not about letting them run your business, it's letting them into the business. And they can provide a lot of value. And those are really important things. And shout out to any budding accountants and lawyers out there.
That's right. And I think when I say I think the accountants and the lawyers, okay, should actually find somebody like you, right? And just kind of say, I'm getting into accounting. I just got my CA, I just got my CPA, because that's what they call it these days, right? And kind of go, tell me about what you went through in business, because they become more empathetic. And is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they become empathetic for sure. But I also say that their role is to be the governor on the engine. And that is a really important role, to be able to stand up and say no. I know of businesses have gone under because the accountants were cowed into not really providing the fulsome overview that is of what's going on. And so there's that bit of a balance. But there's another thing that I think about. You think about accountants, you think about lawyers, but you also have to think about your family. And this is really critical, because there's going to be dark days in every business. There's going to be times where you just wonder, my goodness, how are we going to survive this? It is a partnership internally, but it's a partnership with your family. And the ability to get a family behind you, which I had the fortune of having a great family behind me that were incredibly supportive. And they held me accountable too. And that, interchange of information and, how's your day? How's the cash flow? What's going on in the business? That is important. You don't survive 20 years unless you've got a family that is there beside you, picking you up, pushing you out the door, occasionally kicking you in the ass, and making sure that you're always, never lose sight of the fact that the business is the business, but it's also the family.
Can you share of an example, without getting too, I guess, personal, to share with people, kind of tell them this is normal, that you might be feeling this way and your family's, maybe not part of the business. And sometimes you maybe feel alone a little bit. And that's kind of like part of our segment of our audience, is people that are thinking of starting a business or in business, and they kind of go, oh my God, I feel alone. Is there anything you want to share?
I think you will always be alone. As an
entrepreneur.
As an entrepreneur, you're always going to be alone. But what families can do is allow you to vent, to allow you to share your anxieties without judgment. When I step into the office, people are looking to me for leadership. They don't want me walking around with a wet towel over me. They don't want me walking around not projecting confidence and not instilling a real positive vibe in the office. At home, I can continue that, but I can also let the guard down. I can talk about what my anxieties are and talk through them, and then also think, hey, maybe I got a better approach as a result of that.
Yeah, I think it sounds like you get a little bit of clarity as to why you're even going to battle, I guess. Once you go home, those are the people that you're building this for and with.
Absolutely, and without them, you won't succeed.
So I know I know your son's involved.
I have both sons involved.
Oh, both sons. Okay. What would they say the number one thing they learned about you?
I think.
And by the way, we're going to have them on the next show.
Yeah.
So I'm just joking. Go ahead.
I think the number one thing they've learned about me is that I'm more complex than I might appear. And by that I mean is that I have a pretty easygoing nature. Which means I wear my emotions on my sleeve in many cases, but I'm also can be, very, very focused on the details of the business. And so one of the things I think they would say for sure is that there's a complexity to Dad, and there's a complexity to Doug that maybe they didn't really fully understand or appreciate.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna get to number 2 in a second, because number 1, you said surround yourself with good technical people, like your CFOs and lawyers, right? And I'm just gonna let you know the next episode we're gonna have with Doug, talking about his company, but also you and your family and all that, is maybe some interesting situations he's been in the past, maybe how you dealt with certain things. And everybody's got a past.
Everybody
right?
has a past.
And that's, you talk about characters, situations, and all that kind of stuff. But let's go to number 2. Second reason, you said surround yourself with technical people. You also said family is important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's number 2 or if it's what else.
I think it's definitely number 2, but there's a number 3 there, and that is that.
Do you see how we squeeze that in? That's a good business person, right? Just
I've got number
he's
4,
paying
5,
for
6,
2.
7, and 8.
Well, you're paying for 2 on this show, but you got to. Anyways, okay.
Just keep.
You sure
going.
you're not Italian?
So
okay, number 2.5. Number 3
is never give up. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. There's going to be days that you feel that the world is against you, that it feels like there is no solution forward. But I can tell you that those days will come and go. And if you continue to have something that the market requires, you're passionate about that, you believe in yourself and you believe in your team and you believe in what you're doing, that good things can happen. Never give up. Never give in to the ghosts of Christmas past. Don't feel that the world is stacked against you, because you know what? As bad as it may be for me, or as bad as it may be for you as an entrepreneur, other people have a lot worse than we do. And so appreciate what we have and build upon it.
So one thing I'm going to add to that, because I am listening. I do a good job listening.
I didn't realize that.
What's that?
I didn't realize
I didn't hear
that.
it. Anyway, so that was just a joke. You see that?
Oh, that's very clever.
That was good. But here's what I'm going to ask you: is that has there ever been a time where you're saying never give up, never give up, never give up, and then the family goes, Doug, oh my God, what are you fighting this for? It's just kind of or maybe the account, but mostly the family, right? Because I get the feeling the family is a little bit more important than the corporate structure.
That is far more important.
Right? Okay. So is there ever times like, Doug, give it up, or Dad, like, this is not worth the fight, just go close this other deal or something?
Oh, I think that that conversation has happened more than once over 20 years.
So what makes you wake up or kind of go, folks, you're wrong, this is important?
There's benefits to being shallow. I sleep very well. I get up in the morning, I've got a good attitude. You have to have a short memory. You have to have a short memory. A good memory, but a short memory. You got to park what's negative and focus on what's positive and keep moving forward. So for me, that's how you deal with that.
So they've really helped you. Kind of sometimes you were going off the deep end on something maybe insignificant.
Oh, more than once. I'd say more than once that everyone likes to feel that they were in control of everything, and the reality is we're in control of very little in life. And your family helps you insulate you against those anxieties.
So number 2, never give up. Number 1.5 is family that helps you surround yourself. One last thing until we kind of close it up, and we're going to give a little hint on what we're going to talk about next episode about some of the situations you've been in the past you learned. But anything with these new entrepreneurs and business people, and maybe your sons taking over the business, that you would kind of say, you know what, stay away from this on the ego side. Like you were saying, sometimes you get a little bit too nutty, and
Well, there's been more than one Sunday dinner where I had to flash my business card, say it says president right here. You don't have president on your card.
at the family table.
At the family table.
Oy, oy, oy.
And
I bet you got a lot of mashed potatoes that night.
They put me back in my place really quick. The thing is that you must always keep your wits about you. You can't panic. You can't overreact, and that's difficult for a guy that might be a little emotional, because passion is the opposite side of emotion.
Yeah.
And so trying to project that in stormy weather or in good weather is really difficult, but you must do it.
That's amazing. So in order for them to get in touch with you,
Communica.
if you actually click on this sign, it brings you, oh, see, look, boom, and it goes right there.
See how resilient we are? That thing didn't even
It went
move.
right to the internet,
Amazing.
the World Wide Web. And we have links at the bottom. And yeah, that's how you get in touch with them. And the next episode, we're going to be talking about some really interesting stories from what you build on.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah, it's a good one. So we'll see you guys then. Well, you know what? That's pretty much all the time we have for this episode today. Thank you for tuning in with us. And you know what? Make sure you subscribe to our MegaPixx media channel so you will never miss an episode. And also, you can follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram. We have content almost every day. So thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you guys soon.